That's a cool intro.
Yes.
Wow.
Patty. This is a neat intro.
Hello and welcome to another evening with the Spooky Show. Tonight, you can see that we haven't got Dan. He's away still being very poorly. So Parker has agreed to step in and help this evening. And I want to say how excited we are to have Todd and Martina Baker all the way from Indiana.
Hello.
How are you?
I know, you guys look great.
So do you.
Well, thank you.
And just I know that I know you personally, but Parker doesn't. So can you just say a little bit about yourselves and what you do, what your interests are before we really get into the nitty-gritty of what we're going to talk about tonight?
Well, originally we ran the Pacific Paranormal Research Society in Oregon. We did that for 13 years, and then we semi-retired. Whether we start doing something again here now that we're in Indiana, we don't know yet, but
we're thinking about
it. At that time, we only did paranormal investigation, which was just ghosts. But as time has gone on, we've gained a lot more experience and interest in cryptozoology.
UFOs.
And UFOs as well. So we're interested in all things weird and wonderful at this point.
It's amazing. I love it. I love it. And I think you should, I'll join.
Yeah, I think you should as well.
I'll join your team.
You say this, Parker, but you don't even know us yet.
And Todd, I must say, I've got to bring this out because this is a big passion of mine, but you are an archaeologist.
Yes, I have my master's degree in anthropology, and my specialty, I'm a faunal analyst and a human osteologist. I've done a lot of burial work, and I also do animal bone ID. So.
Wow. It's just cool. How cool is that?
Yeah.
I love it. I just absolutely love working with bones. It's what I love to do.
Hi, Nat.
It says hello to everyone. And Lois is in, she says, hey, my fans. She's in the chat with us this evening. And Rita says hello as well. So, hi, Rita. I want to talk about, I'm going to get the elephant in the room out there. You, Todd.
I'm gone. Bye.
No, you've got to stay there. You, Todd, was on a show that aired over here last year called Expedition Bigfoot. Yes.
Yeah.
I've got to talk about this because we mentioned the bones and you were on there talking about Bigfoot and the bones. Can you tell everyone the theory, what you said, what was...
Yeah, what they were asking me about is wondering why you don't find bones with Bigfoot, and the whole theory is that they probably bury their dead, that they're intelligent enough that they bury their dead and they don't want humans or anybody else to find them, which would make sense to me. Because when you think about it, as being a faunal analyst and doing a lot of bone work, for instance, there's a lot of bears out in the woods.
Yeah.
But you hardly ever see, I don't think I've ever come across or found bear bones. So that's something you find. I think it's the same thing with the Bigfoot. I think they're actually burying their dead. So I think they have some type of burial ritual. And obviously, too, I don't think they want anybody else to find them. I think they're aware of humans and they're wary of us. And they don't want us to find any of their remains.
Yeah.
They should be scared of us.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, we're scarier than anything.
Yeah.
Chantal from South Africa says, hello, Earthlings.
I shall tell.
Hello,
And
my
I think
lovely.
Bigfoot. I think they're very intelligent. I think they're very intelligent hominins. So I think they absolutely have the capability to do that.
That's why I said they buried about. Eric agrees with you there, Todd. He's saying that he's always said that they bury their dead as well.
Yeah.
Do you think, it's a question for you, Martina, do you think that they could be interdimensional and they're not dying over here, maybe going back to...
You know, I have to say I'm a little torn with that question, because it's one of those things where if they are if they're a huge primate that's undiscovered yet, then how can they like show up in like one area and then be gone the next? That always just intrigues me. How can they move that quickly? I'm not sure if they're interdimensional. Some people will disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I don't know that.
I know.
Do they have the capability to go invisible? That's something I've wondered about.
Because there are some Native American tribes that say that the Bigfoot, they have the ability to just disappear.
Just
and
disappear.
Go, yeah.
So they'll be there, but you can't see them. Like predators.
Like a cloaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Some tribes.
Do you think they got the idea of predator from
Maybe.
Bigfoot?
Well, maybe.
Bigfoot.
I'm not sure, but I do wonder about that. And I'm not saying they're not interdimensional. There's a lot that we don't know. It's possible that they, after all this time, they've been able to understand how that works.
Yeah.
Something that we don't understand. So I think there's a lot about them we don't know.
Well, they're actually a master of their environment, so they could be hiding just a few feet from you, and you wouldn't see them if they because they know how to camouflage themselves. They know how to blend in with their environment.
Wow. I just love this.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to go
crazy, isn't it?
squatching so badly, but William won't take me. So I've got to go on my own. I've got to find someone
And
to
some
take me.
Bigfoot sightings have been associated with UFO sightings at the same time. That has been reported as well.
And the other thing that intrigues me is there's many Bigfoot sightings that before or after people actually see like orbs or beams of light and things going around. So again, I don't know if that's maybe the Fae folk. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know what is going on with that. And is it something that they're able to do? Is it something else that's going on? Very interesting when people talk about that.
I'm going to come back to Fae in a minute.
Okay.
In a bit. But I just want to take it back to the archaeology again. Todd, now I'm interested in Native American history and, you know, the burials and just the people. They're just wonderful. I love them all. Have you stumbled across anything, you know, in your professional capacity as an archaeologist that you shouldn't have done and had to sort of move it or rebury it? Or did you learn something, or did you see something that was unusual? Or
not really as far as unusual, but reburying. A lot of the tribes now, you know, once you take a skeleton out of the ground, they rebury it in their own traditional manner. But I've never come across anything that I thought was really so odd that I was like, wow, that's really different, or that shouldn't be there. I haven't experienced anything like that. And I've worked on over 200 human burials. So not to say that might not happen sometime, but at this point, I haven't come across anything that's really been like, wow, this is really unusual, really weird.
I've jinxed you now. It's going to happen now. You do realise that.
Well, that'd be fine with me. I'd love to find something that I couldn't explain that would be a mystery. I think that would be very interesting.
Are they all buried the same way? Are they different each burial, or
all groups bury differently? Some do cremation, some do regular ground burial, some they put caves. They put, like out in the Northwest, for instance, they had islands, and they would put them up on like these almost like scaffolding, and they would just leave the bodies out there to decay on the island, and they would put the grave goods like a canoe with grave goods associated with them next to it. So every group is different.
And it's quite different. The archaeology in America is different from here, because you have to have licenses and all sorts to dig the ground, don't you now? And you have to get permission.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You have to have permits. Yeah,
we don't have that over.
The only one that we do have that we need a license for is to dig up a war grave. That's the only one that we need.
Really?
Yeah, so there was some people, I think it was in the 80s down in Dover, So it was on the coast, where from Dover to France, where the Battle of Britain took place back during the war. There was a documentary on it. I can't remember the geezer's name, but the Spitfire was on the beach down in Dover, and that got dug up, but they had to get permission because the Spitfire pilot died. Obviously when it crash landed in the beach, but that now is still flying in the War Museum in Duxford. So that's quite interesting. I'll send it to Viv, so then she can send it to you. It's quite interesting how it all, pans out, and everything was still there, but obviously it was a bit decayed. But under the sand, it kept quite a lot. It kept, but obviously that was well built manufacture of the parts that they use. So, but while I'm on the subject, so have you ever come across any markings of Bigfoot? Obviously, like his foot. Have you come across any of the nests that they build?
I personally have not. I've had multiple encounters, but I haven't come across any footprints or any nests or anything like that. But I've had multiple Bigfoot. One was a face-to-face sighting.
Tell them that. Are we allowed to talk about the sighting you had in the car? Because
Absolutely,
fascinating.
I'll make it nice.
Make it PC.
I'll make it PC. So when I was in high school, I was out with the girl I was dating, and we were out on a gravel road outside of town. And I don't know if you guys know what stripper pits are, but over here, what they do is when they strip mine coal, they dig these big, huge. They go for the veins. They dig these big, huge pits in the ground. So when they do the reclamation, they just fill them up with water and stock them with fish, so people can fish and swim in them. And some of them are 300 feet deep. So we were out parked next to a stripper pit on a gravel road, and we were getting ready to leave. I'll put it that way. And I was in my 65 Mustang that I had at the time.
It just keeps getting better and better.
And I was a junior in high school at the time. And I turned my headlights on, and crossing the gravel road in front of us, there it was. It was maybe 50 feet from us is all. And when I turned my headlights on, it was going across the road, and it stopped and turned and looked right at it. And It was at least 8 feet tall. The thing was huge. Didn't really have much of a neck. Just kind of the shoulders went into the head almost. I couldn't make out exact facial features. I got the eye shine, red eye shine from the headlights. And the thing was just massive. You could tell from the musculature size of this thing. Well, of course, I jumped out of the car, tried the flashlight, started running to it. The girl I was with was just screaming her head off. And so when I got up there and headed toward it, across the road, and I heard it slide down through the brush, and I heard it hit the water in the strip pit. I went up there, shined the light. All I saw were ripples in the water. Where it hit the water, it was gone.
Did you have your machete?
I had a machete with me too.
I would have been screaming at him.
I ran after it with a machete and a flashlight. So, but when it hit the water, it was just gone. I don't know if it could swim, hold its breath underwater, but there were ripples in the water where it hit the water, but there was no sight of it after that. So that was my experience when I was in high school.
Wow. That's just amazing.
Crazy,
that's not far from where we live, right?
Yeah, it's not too far from where we live now. So, yeah.
You're going to have to recreate that and see what happens.
I know. When the weather gets better, I said, you need to take me to that stripper pit. Now, we're not going to sit in the car because we don't have a 65 Mustang, but you need to tell me.
You just have to hire something bigger so you can recreate exactly.
We could replay the whole thing. I'm fine.
And now I wish I would have gone out there afterwards and looked for hair sample, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time.
You don't think about it.
But I didn't see any footprints because it was across a gravel road. But when it hit that water, you could see the ripples in the water hit the water, but it was gone. And that pit was at least 200 feet deep. So I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it. But it was massive. It was huge. Wow. Now I didn't get the smell. You know, some people get the smell associated with it. I didn't smell anything, but personally, I think that smell they put that smell off like a defensive mechanism, like a skunk sprays. So I don't think you get the smell all the time unless they want you to get it. Say, hey, I'm here, and I don't like the fact that you're here. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah.
What? So you think that Bigfoot always it doesn't smell, but it only does what a skunk does when it gets scared or whatever, it sprays.
Threatened, yeah.
I think it's able to secrete some types of pheromones or something that causes it to smell worse. Yeah, so it's like a defensive mechanism. That's my opinion.
Because sometimes people smell it, but they don't see it, but they know they're being watched.
But they see it, and like I saw it, but I didn't smell it.
Yeah,
so.
some people say the same thing as you.
Yeah.
They just didn't smell anything.
Yeah.
So this brings me to you, Martina, because
The smell?
not the smell. Not the smell. You smell wonderful.
All right, bring it on. Let's go.
You smell wonderful, by the way, because I have smelt you. I have been up close to Martina. But no, you was at home alone, and you sort of had a sort of an encounter with a Bigfoot. Can we talk about that?
It was
That's frightening.
When we were in Oregon, we had our house had a green space behind it, and so and we were close to a park, but
in the Malala River.
In the Malala River would run through on the other side of the green space.
Less than
and I'm
100
sorry
yards
about
from
this
us.
coming down. There's nothing I can do on that. And he was gone. He was gone for for work. And it was like 8:00, and I'm just sitting in there. And our house, usually you don't hear very much from the outside. And I'm gonna do this, and hopefully I don't bother the neighbors. But all of a sudden, it was a set of 3, and it came through the whole house, and it was like whoop, whoop. And I'm only gonna do 2 of them, but there were 3 of them, and I'm sitting there watching television. I could hear this, and I was like, "What is that?" And I walked to the back, and I opened the back door, but I refused to go out. It was dark. And I didn't hear anything else, and I didn't see anything, but it just didn't feel right. And maybe it just because it spooked me, I don't know. But that was it. Really, it reverberated through the house. I have no idea. It couldn't have been a human being because it's not. It's not going to be. It sounded big. It was just something huge. And like I said, when I peeked outside, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going outside.
That's too close to the house, though, isn't it?
It had to be close to. It had to be right behind the house.
Sorry, we have some sunlight coming through on the blinds. Is that better? Do I need to shut these blinds, or is that okay?
No, you're good.
Let's hold on a minute. Let's see if this helps.
Does that help a
That
little
doesn't do anything. Well, we finally. This is like the first day we've had sun.
Yeah, enjoy it. Let's enjoy it with
I know. Well,
as long as it doesn't look too
it
bad.
is what it is. It's got lines.
No, but seriously, I would have been scared as well. I would have locked every single door.
You can ask him. You can ask
She
him.
didn't want to go
I
outside
would not go
by herself
back
for a while.
outside for like a month out back. And I
Did the
spent a lot
neighbors-
of time out there.
Yeah.
Did the neighbours hear anything? Did they
didn't
say
hear it.
anything?
Nobody said anything.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe they were too scared to.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And I actually wrote to Cliff Barackman from Finding Bigfoot, and I asked him about that and told him what happened. And he said there had been sightings in our area, and a lot of sightings were actually near the golf course, which wasn't really that far from where we live. So there had been actual sightings.
And the golf course runs right along the river.
Right along the river.
Wow. Wow. Right, we've got some things going in the chat here. Eric the Viking, he says, when you're walking through as someone that isn't searching for Bigfoot, you could walk right by one. I've accidentally ended up 5 feet from a bear before. I suppose you've got to be careful.
Exactly like we were saying, they blend in so well with their environment, that you might not even know they're there. And if they don't put off the smell, you'd never know it.
Yeah. I've seen a beast's bed at Thrusco Reservoir. Oh, he's talking about the nests.
The nest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was made from lamb's tails and pelts.
Interesting.
Oh.
Now, where was this?
This is somewhere in England.
Really?
Fresco. Yeah.
Because you don't hear much about UK and
Evening, Carol.
Bigfoot. You know, you guys got more little people than big people. You know, I mean,
I'll be back in a second. We'll try to shut this other
he's going to
blind.
shut this
Okay.
blind.
So Terry says, hello, Terry. And
Hi,
Robert
Terry.
says, so what is a Bigfoot? Human or beast, or part bear, part human? What do you think Bigfoot might be?
I personally think it's an unknown hominid or primate. That's what I think. A cousin to the great apes. That's personally, based on my opinion as a scientist and archaeologist, that's my opinion on it. But here again, we don't know for sure. We just don't know.
No.
Until we actually find one or are able to study one, then I don't think we're ever going to know for sure.
No. Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that think that they're actually a cousin to humans or some type of, humanoid that has human DNA.
There's some missing link.
Yeah, exactly. They think they might have human DNA as well. There's some people that are like the missing.
Especially the way they walk and that as well. It's
human
stride, isn't it? You know.
Exactly, and they walk on 2 feet. They don't walk. They don't back and forth on 4. Like they basically all walk on 2 feet.
And you have a lot of hunters. Hunters will encounter them, will stand there with their gun, a lot of them, and say, I couldn't shoot it because I felt like I was shooting a human being.
Well, and if they're making nests like this and they're that dexterous that they're able to use their thumbs like we are, they probably are able to use tools as well. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I think they're intelligent enough, obviously. If they build these shelters, I think they probably use rudimentary tools as well.
I'm sure they do, because in places in the Pacific Northwest, like Washington State and DC, when they go, they've seen them use stuff to erase the coast. People have seen them doing that.
Yeah. Kelly says, morning from Aussie land. She's in Australia watching you. So Terry says he's a humanoid Bigfoot size 11 boots and hairy. So he's comparing himself to Bigfoot. I'm sorry, Terry, but Bigfoot's better looking.
Well, I had another experience when I was working.
Yes.
Yeah, I was working up in northern Washington on the Colville Reservation. She's going to try to shut these other blinds. I was working up on the Colville Reservation, and what it was is the Forest Service was doing an land exchange with the tribe, and the tribe was going to get back their traditional huckleberry picking areas. So all the roads, the Forest Service roads they had going up to this area, we were building what they call tank traps. Probably know that from World War II. These big spots in the road where a car couldn't go down and get back up on the other side.
Yeah.
And a girl I work with and I were up there doing the work, and we had about an hour's worth of work left. And on one side of us, the road was just steep down, down this way, and the other way it went up and was just covered with trees, really thick. You couldn't see into them; it was so thick. And all of a sudden, we heard knocks, bang, 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 like 3 knocks, wood knocks. Then the trees started shaking violently in front of us. And then it started, I don't know if there was more than one. Then it started moving around. It was shaking here, 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 all the way around us at different intervals, banging on the trees and shaking the trees. And that went on for an hour until we finished our work.
Wow.
By the time we finished, this girl was crying. And when it first started happening, I kind of joked. I said, oh, maybe it's Bigfoot. And she goes, that's not funny.
Wow.
And then all this started. And by the time we got out of there, and then we got back down to the tribal office, and one of the elders saw she was upset, and he came and asked what happened. And we told him, and he said, oh, they knew you were there. They're just letting you know they're not pleased you're there. He said, they're not going to hurt you. He said, they're just, they're happy that they're getting their traditional huckleberry picking areas back. He says, we let them do the first pick of the harvest. And then after a month or so, then we come up and do our picking, and we use the same areas. And he was just matter of fact. He goes,
see, I love that. Yeah. I love how matter of fact they are.
He's like,
oh yeah, that's nothing.
They're not going to hurt you.
They're not going to hurt you. Oh, that's just the Sasquatch. They're fine.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
But do you think there was more than one? Like there was quite a lot there, or just what were your
I don't
thoughts?
know. If it was one, he was moving back and forth quite a bit, pretty quickly. So I have a feeling there were 2 or 3 of them, and they were just banging all around us. It was very unnerving. Yeah.
Oh no.
Crazy.
Kelly's asking, did anyone take a phone out or video it, or did you have time to do anything like that?
No, we didn't. we didn't have any video cameras with us. We just had our excavation gear up there and a GPS unit. That's all we had with us. So yeah.
Here, Martina, here's a question for you. Oh, where's it gone? No, not that one. Bear with, because it jumped. The Patterson video, Patty, what do you think? Real or fake?
I think it's real.
I think it's real.
I think it's real.
I do.
I think it's real.
Because when they've done so much more video and film enhancements now. And if you really watch some of those enhancements, you can actually see muscles moving. And I don't really, I mean, and you see, like, let's for example, people who say that's just a man in a costume. Have you seen the men in the costumes on the regular Bigfoot shows? And some those guys could, they can afford to get good costumes, right? Well, back in the 60s, how was he able to do that?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
No, I don't either.
I think he really did catch something. I think that's probably one of the best footage that we have right now.
And to think he was on horseback when he actually took that out and was filming it. It's like, wow, you managed to get that while you're on horseback and really get, honestly, I've seen it, not the enhanced versions of the original versions of it. And even that blew me away, because they're saying now that they think that the Bigfoot that was captured, it was actually female.
Yeah,
because she's got breasts.
You can see breasts. Yes.
Yeah.
You can't fake that in a costume.
It was the Bigfoot Pamela Anderson, probably. But I mean, also there's a thing too. You notice that when people say they film Bigfoot now, and it's always really jerky. Too bad, right? You can't see anything because everything's really jerky. Well, when he was jerky when he jumped off the horse. But after that, he got some great video.
Yeah, he did.
And I think that if he was faking it, he would have made it more jerky, don't you? Because that's what everybody else does when they're trying to, right?
Well, that camera he was using isn't like
that's 8mm.
Yeah, that's an old 8mm camera. It's not like all the digital things we have now.
Right.
So,
So
we saw that camera. We saw the actual camera, didn't we? When we went to the museum. I went to the museum.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did have that, yes.
Yeah. Well, the other guy that was with Patterson, Bob Gimlin, he lives in Yakima, Washington, and he still goes around to events and talks and stuff. So, yeah.
Wow, that's just amazing. You want to go? Come to Oregon, and we're going to visit Todd and Martina. We'll go on a road trip.
We'd love to.
We'd love to.
Oh, Bryce says such wide-ranging descriptions. I suppose, like the descriptions of Bigfoot. Because the color variance is another thing. I suppose it's different territories, is it? Or
that's what I think, based on the environment they're in. For instance, like in Florida, they have what they call the skunk ape that they smell so bad. Well, they're living in those old nasty, stinky swamps. They're dealing with swamp water and that old organic mud and debris, so they are going to stink.
And in Ohio, they're a little hairier and they have different colors. And they call them the Ohio grassman because they mostly live in like high grassy areas.
Yeah.
So, and they're also, I believe that they've just kind of adapted to their environment, like most animals.
Well, just like with the Yeti, a lot of times they're a gray or white color.
That's
when they're adapted to their environment, I think they adapt just like animals do, whatever they need to adapt to their environment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've got another question. I can't remember the name, but there was a species that was supposed to have died off before caveman. I wonder if they really didn't die out.
Gigantopithecus.
They're probably talking about Gigantopithecus. That's the theory which is a cousin to the great apes, and they were 7 to 8 feet tall. So they have remains from them. So that would make sense. I mean, that's what they match more than anything else when you think about the size. So it could very well be. And there might have been a population, a remnant population that got over and survived. And still, and obviously, you still have to have enough of them to have a viable breeding population. They're not just one or two here. You have to have several because there's sites all over the place.
Yeah. Bryce says there was originally around 7 main humanoid species. I think he's the evolution to man. I think he's talking about that. You should, hang on. What's Kelly saying? You should take a phone next time you can and put that link up for that. So when you see a Bigfoot, I suppose you don't really know when you're going to see one.
Right.
Don't
No,
see it, really.
Accident,
no.
isn't it?
It's just like when we're like we'd be ghost hunting, it would inevitably it would be when you'd see the figure come right in front of you, and it's when
Yep.
you're setting up your equipment,
Yeah.
so you're not even
Yeah.
ready yet. And I was like, really, come on,
That
can't you give me
happens
5
all
more
the time.
minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens
I don't
all
know
the
about you
time.
guys, but when you're always packing up, something happens as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
why
that's
you never
just-
quit recording when you're packing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Terry says, if that was a female, God only knows the size of her mate.
Mm.
Because
That's
Patty
a
was
good
Yeah,
tall.
point.
that's a good point because they say they could be up to 8 or 9 feet sometimes.
Yeah, you've heard descriptions before, people saying they're over 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just massive. I can't even imagine.
I know, right?
It's 9 foot. Well, that one I saw was close to 8, I'm sure, but
Wow.
9 foot. Wow. I mean that's
Mm.
just you just think of the strength of a creature like that. It's like
Yeah.
they could break you in half if they wanted
Now
to.
you saw the eyes, didn't you?
Oh yeah, the eyes. I
You
saw
said the eyes were
It
red.
shined red when my headlights hit it.
See, now
Yes.
that's interesting too,
Yeah.
because isn't that primates are only red eyes usually?
Typically,
Typically.
yes. The red eye shine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got this UFO or this balls of light phenomena that happens before they're supposedly seen or heard. Do you think that's an alien thing? More, we touched on the Fae, because I mean, their surrounding the habitat is mainly forest and very wooded areas or very
Yes.
densely thickets and things like that. So, and the Fae, we are led to believe, thrive in places like that. So that seems to happen before Bigfoot's coming. So when we talk about the Fae,
I think it's some kind of nature spirit. I don't know what else. It's something natural, probably, that we just don't understand. Maybe he's able to send out, scouts to check things
Yeah.
out.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think-
I mean, I don't really know, and it doesn't always happen, but it is in areas a lot where they're seen often. And like when the Sierra Sounds, when those guys would go up in that, when he was camping up there in Sonora or California,
Sierra Nevadas. Mountains, yeah.
they saw that sometimes without encountering the Bigfoot, and they would have these beams of these
balls of
light.
light. And
going right through the camp. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said they obviously were intelligent because of the way the movement was. It's like there was a purpose to it. They weren't just flying through for no reason. They were there. It was a purpose.
That's fascinating to me. What is that? We just don't know what that is.
Just don't know, do you?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, Martina, that because you always see men at this, out squatching, and they do this and do that. That one lady does. Actually, it's always the one lady with a team of men that go out on the TVs and stuff. But do you think, like, if a group of women went out squatching, that they would be more successful or get more from it than a group of men?
That question. I love it, because I would say probably because if a woman does whoops, like the show Finding Bigfoot, for example, when Renee Holland was on there, she didn't do very good whoops or screams, but when she did, they would kind of get more of a reaction because they know that sound. And I think that a male Bigfoot would be like, "Oh, hey, baby, what's that?" I think that women making those sounds would get more an interesting response more than men.
Well, when you think about it too, if it's a male Bigfoot, a woman's going to put out different pheromones than a man. It might be more attractive.
Monthly smells as well. Yeah,
it's just a different smell altogether.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Native Americans, some of them did say that there were stories that the male Bigfoots would come and take their women and abduct them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Many stories about tribes saying that that's their history with them. Yeah.
So we could just lay there in the forest and say, "Come on, Bigfoot, baby, take me." And hope for the best.
You try first. Let me know how it goes.
You might get a response. You might not want to, but you might.
You'll have to. You've got no choice.
If you drink, I'll introduce him to cups of tea.
There you go. Earl Grey.
No. It'd have to be a PG tips tea bag in a bucket. So you have his bucket of tea, I'll have a cup of tea.
Well, people do leave gifts for him. People will leave apples and fruit and different types of gifts, and people have claimed that they got gifts back. that they would make little stick figures for them, or they'd bring them certain types of rocks that were looked
yeah.
pretty. Yeah, yeah.
Here's another question for you, Martina. So people are leaving gifts for Bigfoot. Why aren't they doing the same for ghosts? And, you know, I mean, I don't know how it works over there necessarily in America, but over here, that these spirits and ghosts and these ancient ghosts, they're everywhere. And no one would think of leaving them a present.
Oh no, we used to tell our clients to do that all the time.
We used to tell people to do that all the time. Yes.
Especially if you had a child spirit, a child ghost, and they'd seen it. I would definitely always recommend, okay, I'm feeling like horses or something she likes. So I would recommend getting them a stuffed animal, putting it in a spot and saying, this is yours. We'd go to a bar where there was definitely spirits with the spirits, let's say. And, I mean, remember that one we were at that one speakeasy, I was walking downstairs and I said, come on. I said, I'll pour a drink for you. Let's go to the bar. And I was heading to the bar to pour him a drink. And you could hear his footsteps upstairs.
Wow.
Right forward.
Yep.
Where I was, but he was upstairs, but he was like, okay, you know, we'll go.
I'm coming kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always recommend that. You guys, look, they're just people. Ghosts are people, right? So they like to smoke, they like to drink. If that's where you are, pour them a shot. This is for you, George. You know, I mean, we would recommend that all the time.
You'll get a lot more activity that
and
way.
Things actually kind of calm down because you're treating them like they're part of the establishment. Instead of just like, oh my God, it's evil and you know.
Like they were
just
a living
treat them
person,
like they're a living person, and
you'll
get better responses.
Yep.
And you know what? If you have one in your house, you want things to relax. You want to just do the same thing. You know what? You keep eating my, what was that one? She kept making her special cinnamon rolls,
and they would disappear.
And they would disappear. She'd be gone 5 minutes. He'd take them. And so I said, well, make some just for him. And actually he started to do that. And so that way the rest of her family could eat the rest of her cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Annette said something quite interesting. She says, it's almost like the story of the Nephilim about the Bigfoot stealing women.
That's really interesting too. We've had conversations. Yeah, that's a good point. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't quite know what to think about that.
But
there is that theory out there.
That's that theory.
That's where the Bigfoot came from. They were originally
the giants. Yeah,
because they were supposed to be 7-8 feet tall, covered with hair, so it matches the description.
It does.
So, that theory is out there.
Terry says he left things and would get, if we left things, we'd get fined for fly tipping. You're not supposed to leave things behind, making a mess. Well, it depends what you're leaving behind, Terry. If you're leaving rubbish, then So. And Eric says that's a good idea, leaving things behind for the spirits. So,
just like when we would visit a cemetery, which I don't know how you feel about cemeteries. We have found are actually not really, they're not haunted. You get spirits visiting, but most hauntings we've experienced have been because it's location. They're like dead real estate agents, right? Location. Why would you want to hang out in a cemetery? Now, if you're mourning somebody or waiting for something to happen, I could see that, but that's actually not that common. But when we visit cemeteries just to see, and see if any spirits are over visiting their graves or whatever, I actually leave pennies, or I leave pennies on graves and thank them for letting me come and visit. Certain people just kind of call to me, and I do leave gifts for them as well, just so they know that we've been there. I think you should always be respectful. I think we have done that.
Do you know, I think the pair of you make good counsellors. Like Martina could be the sort of the paranormal side of it, and Todd could be the Bigfoot side of it. But people that have had encounters and need a bit of counselling afterwards can come and talk to Todd and calm them down.
We used to try to be kind of interventionists.
Yeah,
with the living and the dead. That's kind of like that. Yeah. You're not just going in and saying, "Oh my God, the doll's head moved." That's that's what TV is for. But
Yeah.
when you're really helping somebody that's having a problem, you got to make them both feel better. So when you
Yeah,
leave,
that's it. Yeah.
both of them should be more comfortable with each other and have a game plan.
So they can live together.
I know that sounds
peacefully,
weird, but you want them to live together. You
Yeah.
want your living clients to be happy when you leave, not more freaked out. That just doesn't work.
I've got a new job for you now. You're the what would we call you? The paranormal cryptid counselors. Therapy.
I like it.
Therapy
PCC.
with
There we go.
PCC.
PCC.
Therapy with Martina and Todd. $100 an hour, is it? $200 an hour?
That sounds good to me.
That sounds, let's do it. Yeah. And coffee. Just make sure you fill us up with coffee.
Do you find people come to you to tell you that they've had issues or they've seen something and they just want a bit of reassurance from you?
Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of people, there are some people that will say what you do is not good and you're dealing with
or
weird.
It's all fake.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Or you got to be careful, and you're going. I'm not going to get into the spiritual part of it, but those same people, 5 minutes later, will come up to you and say, you know, when I was 5, my grandfather sat at the edge of my bed and told me everything. It happens all the time, and I'm just like, now wait a minute, you just told me that I'm going down under, and now I'm fine. You know, make up your mind. Which is it? But yeah, it's very interesting when you meet people and they find out what you do. And Vivian, I'm sure you encountered this as well. They'll think about it, and then they'll feel safe enough to come and say, you know, I have this happened to me. And so,
well, we've had people that, come up to us when they know what we do, and they say, well, I have this story I've never told anybody else before, because they think I was crazy, but you guys, I can tell you. And so I've never told anybody this before. So we get that a lot.
Which I think is good, because I mean, come on, you've been through that and you don't want to tell anybody. Get it off your chest. That's what we're here. That should be what any investigator should be able to do. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I'd tell them anything. I've spent time with these two, and they're great people, and I'd feel completely safe with them in any given situation. And even we could let her go. I'd even go as far as saying, "Come on, let's go to a crazy bar that's playing heavy metal, and let's let her hair down, and get completely smashed, and still feel completely safe with
them." Do a little
dancing,
bit
of head banging.
Yeah, the ghost going to, come on now, let's get some 80s.
Yeah. It's something to consider, isn't it? Sort of for the anything that you do in the future. Maybe that's maybe a service you could offer as well. Because I know that if anyone came to me and said, "Did I know of anyone?" I'd point them in your direction all day long. And I mean that.
No, that makes me feel good, because we've tried, really. That's one of the things that we wanted to do is to help it, is to be helpful. Not just to say, yes, we found something, no, we didn't. It's really to be helpful.
Yeah. And as well, because you have both of you held professional jobs or hold professional jobs. You're an archaeologist and you work in media, Martina. Won't say too much in case you tell me off. She does. You can hear her voice most days.
I'm kind of in the upside down, like Stranger Things. We just moved, so I'm kind of in the upside down. Todd probably won't have that problem, but I haven't quite figured it out yet what we're gonna do, but we're right there. We're getting settled in. So
And what I love is Martina is a crazy cat lady. And I think we should
have one cat. What is that?
But you need to do more stories on your socials about the cat, because I just think this absolutely gorgeous. I love him. I really do love the cat.
It's like owning a bobcat. I don't know. He's something else.
Yeah, he's 22 pounds. He's on a diet right now. But
if anybody has a tuxedo cat, I understand, is all I'm going to say.
He's a character.
He is something else. I've never had a cat like him before, ever.
He's gorgeous. And if people wanted to contact you, what would be the best way they could get in contact with you? Is it through social media? Do you have a website or an email address? Or if they want to come,
we don't have a website right now because Pacific Paranormal isn't really going to work out here in the Midwest.
No.
Renaming will have to take place at some point. So If somebody really wants to contact me and just they can friend me on Facebook at Martina Baker, or if you want to email me, as long as you don't tell me that you're a Nigerian prince needing money, I'm good. ghostgal2020@gmail.com. You can go ahead and email me, have some questions about ghosts or anything.
Okay, say that again slowly and I'll type it in.
ghostgal2020@gmail.com.
I got you.
And I'm not looking to expand my car's warranty or anything like that. You send me that kind of stuff, then you're deleted. But other than that, you're welcome to write any questions we have. We've had a lot of experience. We've done this a long time. We're not better than anybody else, but we did it before any of the shows showed up.
Yeah, we were doing this before any of the TV shows were
unfortunately, that's a lot of people's kind of first impression of it, is watching the shows, and we're not a big fan of any of the shows because they just show everything so blown out of proportion.
Everything's so dramatic and just overplayed. It's just really kind of
And I want to just say that one thing that we've learned is the paranormal is very subjective.
Yes.
I want to bring that.
Yes.
Parker's experience is going to be completely different than mine, and the same thing can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're all different people individually, whether it's spiritual, whether it's how we were raised, our belief system, our environment, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody's experience is different, and the paranormal is always subjective.
Yes.
So anything I would tell you if you ask me a question is my impression, not necessarily might not be yours.
No, that's it. Everyone's got their own opinion,
Do you think that's the same with Bigfoot as well? Is that quite subjective? Yeah.
Because everybody processes it differently based on your belief system and how you think, and absolutely everybody will process it and encounter differently. Yeah.
So please, everybody watching and listening, when you watch the ghost shows, please look and say, "This is so entertaining. I'm loving this. It's great entertainment." But don't use it for a guidebook. Please, don't. Yeah. And the spirits will thank you. Just be nice. Just talk to them. Be respectful like you would, like we are now. Just talk to them as normal people. And bring
presents. And bring presents.
Yes. Leave some coins at a cemetery. Leave them a shot, have whatever, just children ghosts, definitely get them something, a toy that's theirs alone, and just leave it there. So this is for you, and whether it moves or not doesn't matter. That they'll know that that's theirs. Everybody likes to have something that belongs to them. That's got to be very hard for people who have passed on that have nothing anymore.
No, that's
they're
a good
still
point.
in the same mindset.
They still have that mindset,
so that'll make a big difference with them.
So that's why when you start remodeling your house, painting and doing all this stuff, you might not even know you have a ghost in your house until you start doing that. Yeah. Because their reality is their reality, and you're messing it up and punching it.
And they don't like it. Yep.
That's why they take your tools and you can't find them. They don't want you to work anymore.
Yeah. We've had that happen.
Oh, it constantly. It's happened to us before.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I think the worst that's ever happened to me in this house, and I've had a lot of things happen in this house, but the worst was having a pot thrown at me with aggression.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is your chili not good? What's the problem?
And the pot had to come round the corner as well to smack it.
Why?
Yeah. And I was the only one in the house.
Oh my God,
Vivian. So much.
I just got up. I went outside with my cigarettes and rang Andy. Andy!
I can see you. I do this. Remember when I left you alone in the 13th door when they were at, and I left you alone to go turn the lights off, and there's like paranormal activity going crazy, and I'm like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, we were working in this dark theater, and stuff was going on.
And
she went out the front door.
I was like this, Vivian. I'm like out front. He's like, you left me in there by myself.
And I had to go all the way upstairs and throw the breakers off in the upstairs and come all the way back through this place in the dark to get outside.
I made him do it alone.
Yeah.
No, that's why you always have them rolled ready to go, just in case you need more than one. I've even found lighters that have torches in them now, so you can light the way out. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. Well, it's
I
been
can't believe you got a
absolutely-
pot thrown at you. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
wow, lucky it didn't hit
That's a
you.
lot of energy for somebody to pick up a physical item and throw it.
That takes a lot for them to do something like that. Yeah.
It's, you know, you can be in my house and you'll hear. I've got paintings on the hallway downstairs. One that a friend has painted, and one.
Did you
it's
just
got-
see that? You need to play that back a few minutes later. I think I just saw an orb go by you behind.
I've got a window here, so it could have been.
Okay,
far
so
outside.
it was a light from outside.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, just saying. I saw that. I was like, wow.
So we have these things on the wall, and one of them is the plane. It's a signed picture of the Enola Gay by Paul Tibbets and the crew, and there's 3 pictures, and you'll be sitting in the living room and you'll think that the clocks are being smashed and the paintings have fallen down and there's carnage in the hallway, and when you go out there, there's nothing out of place.
Nothing.
Oh, that's a portal crash.
Yeah.
It's like, really? It's like,
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
That's what we call it.
That's
yeah.
what we call them. Yeah, we call them a portal crash because it's
and then
like,
you'll hear footsteps like sort of walking away.
they're
Yeah.
coming in and out. Yes.
It's like a dimensional doorway or
Yeah.
something opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it sounds like glass breaking or
Yeah, like a bunch of
Just
seeds
crazy.
flown across the room.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then
I
to get
know.
that physical pot, to get that pot actually physically thrown at me, I heard a man. He opened my back door when I was outside. I heard the back door open. I heard someone step through. I heard the back door close, and then I saw the shadow go through my kitchen. So I thought it was my husband come home. I was the only one in the house.
Wow.
Of course, I've gone in through the back door. So Andy, and I'm calling him. I got really annoyed because he didn't answer me, and he was nowhere to be seen. He was nowhere in the house. Thanks. I was really getting angry with him.
Which time?
Well, the most
Well, that was
recently.
just 2 days ago.
Yeah, tell her about that. Yeah.
Go on.
Well-
What happened?
Well, so Todd and his mom went. Was it a doctor's appointment or
Something like
something?
that,
They
yeah.
went out to Menards or doctor appointment or whatever. I'm watching TV. I'm staying here. I'm in the house by myself, and I swore I heard the back door open, but I did hear heavy footsteps coming through the laundry room up to like where the kitchen is. And I'm thinking, I didn't hear the garage door open. That's weird. So I'm waiting, and it was like heavy step, shuffling, step. And then it stopped. And I'm sitting here waiting. Nobody opens up the baby gate that we have, so the cat can't, nothing. It's dead. And I just yelled at him, and I said, well, you're already here. So you might as well come into the house, right? Just come on in. But it was really loud. It was a loud shuffling and heavy footsteps. And I guess that your dad.
My dad passed last April.
last April.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we think that might have been
It's
him.
probably Todd's dad, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's what we.
That's
yeah,
what I
probably
think.
So.
Yeah.
So
See
what
what's
is
going
she
on.
doing? What's she doing? Let me just have a look. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just
Yeah.
checking up. Is everything okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's lovely. I think that's lovely. Right.
Oh, and
Time
what was
has
the
run
next
away. We have gone an
Oh, my
hour now
goodness.
already.
All
wow.
right.
Okay. Wow.
It's gone really quick.
It's
It
gone
has.
really quick.
Yeah, it's gone too quick. We're having a blast.
I know. I could talk to you all day.
Yeah.
That would.
Shall we? Will you come back on and let's talk some
Absolutely.
more?
Yeah, sure.
We'll
we
come back
will.
on
We'd be happy
anytime you'd like to have us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh! Before we go, Eric has just asked a question. He says, "Has anyone ever seen something like a cloudy orb?"
Cloudy. They have different textures in them. I have seen some that almost look like puffy cotton ball type, which would be a cloudy. We actually have one on video. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And
That's
sometimes we're not big on orbs because orbs are very controversial. They can be dust, water. You got to be careful with them.
Mhm.
But we've gotten some that actually have faces in them that I can't
Yeah.
really describe.
And different colors. We've gotten blue. We've gotten orange. We've gotten green.
with faces
red,
in them.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but I like it when you get like not really an orb, but something that has like a tail on it. So to me, that means it was moving and there's
Yeah.
nothing else around. So those are the ones that I like. But,
Yeah.
I'd
Oh,
rather they
Terry-
talk to me. So that's what I like to get them to talk.
Terry's just saying, I always go to a place with a mindset that they was in the place well before me, and I'm the intruder. That's a really good.
Terry's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's exactly
how you should look at it, because
Yep.
they were there first.
Yep. You're invading the space according to them.
So they're not evil. They can be mad at you, but they're not. That's not this evil stuff. And I'm so tired of everything being evil and demonic.
Yeah.
So don't even get me started on that. I will start cussing if we start to talk about it.
Don't say.
Really I've held it together this far.
Don't tell Terry he's awesome, otherwise he'll get a big head. He's bad enough as it is. Poor Terry. Right, so we're going to end it here.
Hey,
we are back next week, and I believe we have Paul Rook talking about the Paranormal Concept Show and what he's been up to, and some of his crystal jewellery creations. So it'll be great to catch up with Paul. But we are going to get Todd and Martina back, if that's okay with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
Anytime you want to have us on, just let us know.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have you on every week. We don't mind.
No, this is so much fun.
We'll talk about anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, we're weird enough. We'll just go right to
Yeah, we could get our Bigfoot casts out and show them off. And I know you've got quite a lot there, haven't you? You've got a few that you've got collected over the years, your Bigfoot casts and what have you. So, yeah.
Well, you were with me when I bought the handprint, which I love. That was awesome. Wasn't that an awesome place?
I went back and got one the following year when I came. I got a handprint and a foot for me this time.
Good for you.
Well, that handprint was taken in Shelby County, Kentucky, which is only
like
about
an hour and a half from us.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're coming.
All right.
Parker, pack your bags.
That's all right.
Right.
We'll have
You
to
pay
come.
for it, and I'll just loan you. I'll loan you back.
I'll pay for it. That's what a credit card's for, isn't it?
That's
right.
Oh, Cliff has just said something. Would be good to do a talk on how people have seen someone as plain as day, only to find out they'd passed out weeks ago. That would be an interesting one.
A few stories.
Many stories about that's not uncommon. That's very common.
I got a story my grandmother told me too, something like that. So
yeah.
Next time we'll talk
next
about.
Time we'll talk a lot about that. That's
how's that, Cliff? We'll get you on.
They're visiting. They visit all the time.
Yep.
They visit all the time. Let them visit. It's all right.
We'll get you on sooner rather than later, so we can continue with this. You'll be like the Todd and Martina guests part 2 of the show.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
We need a part 2. Right, so guys, we will be back next week. Try and tune in if you can. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Lois and her team will be there with the show. Is it called To the Grave and Back Again?
Yeah.
And on Friday night, there is Frighteners.
The Frighteners.
On Saturday, it's the first Saturday of the month, so William Becker might be on with his guest as well. So don't forget to check in if you're free on Saturday night. Join William, because his shows are very, very interesting. But with that, I'm going to say good night, everyone, and leave.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Todd and Martina to say good night. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Although it's